What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 7 on my road to 700 pounds on bench press. So this week I am doing things a little bit different. On Saturday I've actually been invited to a buddy of mine. He's having a grand opening for his supplement store, Yonk's Nutrition Central in Woodlands, Texas. And so I'm going to be doing my bench press main sets there as kind of an exhibition lift to get some guys out and some girls out to do some bench press reps and just have fun with it. So I have scooted things out, or screwed things up a little bit this week. I am going to be starting off, instead of doing my bench press reps, I'm going to be doing dumbbell bench, which is would normally be done on my lighter day, on day 2 of bench, which is typically on Thursdays. So I've got the 115s today. And this is 15 reps for 2 sets, extremely easy. I did warm up before this. I didn't show that, but I basically worked my way up with the 50s, 80s, and then pretty much jump right to the 115s. I do my normal bands, stretch cord, as well as arm circles and kind of a foam roller just to get warm, regardless of the weight. So I've moved everything up this week. Like I said, my squat day is normally on a Wednesday, even though it is lighter. Doing it on a Tuesday, it hits a little bit different. And then my shoulder day, which is normally on Thursday, day 2 on this video, is normally, like I said, Thursday. It was moved to Wednesday, and my deadlifts were done on Thursday. So this week, even though it wasn't too terribly heavy, obviously my main set of bench isn't done until the end of the week. I wanted to conserve energy for that, but shoulders, as you'll see later in the week, well, technically 2 days from this particular day on the video, is a little bit tougher than normal because I don't have that extra day of rest. So I do stress rest and recovery, and this is a good example of why I do that. So this is heavy decline for the day 1. And it is 450 pounds. I've got 2 sets of 6. I'm not sure if I got 2 on video or not. And so those 115s actually served as a warm-up for this, and that's kind of how I planned it. These are close grip declines. Stabilizers are starting to get used to a little bit more weight. We've gone up 10 pounds this week. So this is the first set of 6. I definitely get a spotter on this because I don't have any safety pins to catch the bar just in case. And this next set, you will see exactly why I have spotters in this particular situation. This wasn't a catastrophic event, but had it been, it would definitely been beneficial to have these guys there. You'll see on the 3rd rep, it actually hits the right side of the screen here on that pin, basically because I wasn't, the bar path was a little too close, and I just can't get much further down because this bench is static and I can't move things around on it. So watch closely on the 3rd rep on my left hand. Right here, boom. So I did catch it, got a little help there, recovered, and I went ahead and did 7 reps just to make up for that missed rep. Technically not a missed rep, but in my book, if I have help, it's a missed rep. So, all right, so moving on.
I do that sometimes, but it's all good. I had to do another one just to show a little control.
Got some dips on the agenda here. This is 160 pounds, 2 sets of 12. You can see the first couple reps, I'm lightheaded, kind of get in the groove, then I get into a rhythm. Start to try not to use the weight to swing, but I use, when the weight is on its down sweep, I can utilize that instead of fighting against it. I can utilize that to kind of come down on it. I am making sure that the triceps are staying engaged the whole time though. Only showed 1 set of that, did 2 sets. Crucifix lat pull downs. This is 120 pounds in each hand. I've got 12 reps and 4 sets. I actually opted to skip the last set just because things were feeling a little weird. I was a little bit rushed for time at this point of the workout, so I didn't want to not have my proper rest and recovery between. Plus, I knew I was going to be hitting bench later in the week, so I did opt to come out of one set there just for precaution. Got some flies, holding it there for about a 1 second contraction or so. And this is 60 pounds for the first set for 12. And then the next 2 sets, I believe I just showed one here. The next 2 sets were 50 pounds each, 12 reps each. And I showed this angle because I had somebody comment last week. They mentioned that I believe it was my right arm was off or uneven. From this angle, you can clearly see there's not much of a difference. I mean, obviously you got 2 separate arms, so there can be weaknesses in one or the other, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of fixing it. But I did want to make sure that you guys know from that angle, or at least for your own training, just film it from a different angle, and sometimes the angle of the camera can mean all the difference, so you don't chalk it up to a weakness if it's not. Last thing for this particular day was the overhead rope, tricep extensions. We moved this up to 170 this week, and this is technically it's supposed to be 12 sets of 6. Like I said, a little pressed for time on this day. I had actually a meeting to get to, some personal stuff, and went ahead and cranked out, I believe it was sets at 12, and then some change on the last set. A total of 72 reps. A lot of you guys ask what I listen to song-wise, and it's kind of over the, it's across the board. So I may end up just showing you guys on film next time. It's easier just to show you after a set, maybe what I was listening to if you guys are interested. I listen to Spotify most of the time. All right, so day 2 here. First thing I'm starting off with is some, actually I did my one arm cable lateral raises. I just didn't film it. And then the dumbbell bench that I normally would do today, obviously I did on day 1. So this is the straight arm dumbbell pullovers with 45 pounds, 3 sets of 15. These felt really good. I abbreviated the shoulder day. Obviously the bench, dumbbell bench was taken out and done on Monday. And then the one arm cable, lateral cable raises, I did 1 set of that with 60 pounds, 3 sets of 15 is what it called for. I did 1 set of 15. The shoulders were just not recovered from Monday, and this is Wednesday. So that goes to show you that one day can make a huge difference in how you feel. It felt like I just couldn't get warm, and what that basically was is that I was just sore and tired. My muscles were just not recovered from Monday. So that was a good indicator for me to go ahead and shut that down and play it smart. I did have some Kaz Smith machine presses, and I did opt to skip those because the triceps were a little bit sore as well. I wanted to save those for the Saturday workout. I went ahead and did hammer strength rows as kind of the day to finish this out. And this was 500 pounds for the first set of 8, 585 for the second set of 8, and went for as heavy as I could get. In this particular day, I felt comfortable with going 635 for a set of 8, which I think looked and felt better than the 585. And so I don't know how much heavier, like I said, I can get on this, but see how these look. I think I got a little bit better range of motion. I did use straps on this so that the grip was not a limiting factor. Those rubber handles are very slippery, so they just don't quite work even with chalk. But got a nice little treat for you guys. So this is me pulling up on Saturday to Yonk's Nutrition Central. Find him on Instagram, Facebook. Jeff Yonker is a 21-27 full meet lifter. He's also got a 573 bench. So I was out here supporting the cause, his grand opening at the nutrition shop right off of I-45 and a little bit north of 2920. FM 2920 in Spring, Texas. He asked me to come out and do a little lift, and I didn't have to take much away from my normal training schedule. As you can see, I'm going to show you my warm-ups here. This is starting with 225, but I actually did the bar for about 15 reps, 135 for about 8, and just enough to get warm. This is a pretty cool day. It's about 55 degrees outside. My back was actually pretty cramped, and it still is, but it didn't affect bench at all, so not too worried about that. My working set today calls for 510 pounds for 6 paused reps, and you'll see that here in a minute. Last week was 500 for 6, so I feel like there's definitely some more in the tank, which is good, obviously a good thing. We will be slowly creeping it up a little bit more as the weeks go on. Next week will be a deload, so we won't see anything heavy next week. I'll do a deload recap. I actually was thinking about doing a few how-to video setups as well, just with utilizing my time in the gym for you guys. So if you have any comments of what you want to see on that how-to series, let me know. Specifics like arch, setup, leg drive, things like that, and I will let you guys in on whatever I can get together in a video. I actually have an interesting little save here. This is my 405 single that I typically do. Sometimes I do a double, it just depends. You'll watch closely on the right side here. It went up obviously fast when I went to rack it. That front lip is not quite high enough. It's about a ½ inch. It bounced out. Now, obviously I got a little help. You'll see Jeff in the red shirt out there. He's the owner of Yonk's Nutrition Central, but he runs around and kind of helps save it. But I was wanting to actually fight it. I would not recommend that for most people. I have a tendency to save lifts and to have that shoulder mobility strength, to do that stabilizer strength. A lot of it's just from self lift off. Not that I would advise training that way if you can get a lift off. But obviously I'm a survivor. I'll deal with what I got to deal with. So here it is. Boom. Cranked it up. Put it in. So fun times. No, nothing on the shoulder. Shoulder's fine, so we're good to go. Obviously, if that would have been both, that could have been kind of weird setup and dangerous. But that's why you gotta be safe and always be alert. Don't ever get loose, because if you need to save that bar, you need to be able to fire those. It's kind of like a fighter jet landing on an aircraft carrier. Always keep the engine at full throttle until you know for a fact that the bar is safe. That's why you see me actually, I'll slide my hands out to the side after a rep, and I don't let go of that bar until I know for a fact that it's not going anywhere, because if I'm going to try to climb out from underneath it, I don't want it crashing down. But so this is my last warm-up. Opted for a lift off, plus for safety. This is 495 for a single. Nice and smooth. And we'll go ahead and put on a couple of 5s and some 2.5s. Make it 510. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit tempted to go ahead and bump that weight up a bit, but there'll be a time to shine. We can do that on meet day. I didn't take quite as long between, working sets. Obviously, these are just warm-ups, but normally I take a little longer between warm-ups. It was a little chilly, like I said. I didn't want to get cold, so I went ahead and just pretty much piled this weight on almost within the next three minutes or so, and went for it. Big shout out to Animal for sending out a bunch of giveaways and locks. a bunch of pre-workout, Fury, which is one I take, also some animal pack vitamin samples, which is basically there's a powder form, and they sent some of those. Excellent choice of vitamin if you guys are looking for one. I take that every day. So definitely thank you to Animal. Anywhere I lift, I pretty much take my chalk, take my wrist wraps, my elbow sleeves. It's not that I have to have it, but the closer you can, when you're doing lifts like this, the closer you can treat it like you're in the normal gym that you would normally be lifting in, the better results you'll have. Obviously, lifting in a new location, regardless of same bench setup or the temperature difference outside. Obviously, this being outside the parking lot, little things like that don't seem to matter, but they do. Just little stuff, and so you just want to play it safe and really just try to lift exactly the same way every single time. Get tight, set up, grab the bar, leg drive. Everything's the same. I was a little reluctant to not be wearing, I normally wear my squat shoes with the heel when I bench. As you can see, I'm wearing tennis shoes here. I did that mostly for safety because normally in the gym I don't have a concrete floor underneath me, so these tennis shoes kept me stable. Lost a little bit of the bar there, but went ahead and recovered it, and that kind of told me right there I was just going to stay at 6 reps and not do any more, and not go up obviously in weight. But definitely have more to take. I'm happy with that. I did feel that after all that warm up, I was going to go ahead and just do a drop set. So talking to Jeff here about the bar rolling a little bit scared me. So what we're going to do here is an AMRAP at 405.
And here we are.
Wanted to see, I obviously was gassed from the 500 for reps,
We have the lovely
but
Tess.
was just curious and wanted to see
Jeff.
what I could do as a drop set. Personal best right now with 405 is a few years old actually. It's like 3 years old. Did it at 24-hour fitness and got 17 reps. As you can see, right around the 10 mark, it doesn't matter what the weight is. My endurance is just, right now I'm made for strength. I'm building it up obviously for a 1 rep.
2 more.
When you train reps, you can hit these a lot faster, a lot better, and over time I could easily add a few reps to this, no big deal. But even with 315, I think that's about as many as I would want to get right now, just because that lactic acid builds up so quick. I'm not going to be doing any kind of rep test like this, anything major for a while. Obviously, I don't care how many reps I can get at 405 or 315 or 500. At this point, it is about piling on 25, 30, 45 pounds each time I get under the bar to build this pyramid up to having meet day be a successful one. And obviously, the goal in this training cycle is no less than 705. Just a different angle here of that same bench, you can see that. But this is pretty much a wrap for this week. Like I said, next week is a deload, and we'll be backing it down a considerable amount of weight, about 65% or so. But once again, thanks to Jeff for having me out from Young's Nutrition Central. You guys check him out online. Also check him out on his Baby Huey 2K on Instagram. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram @SwimHack, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.